blind eyes, bright heart. Helen was a baby girl. She was born in a quiet town. Her parents were very happy when she came into the world. Her mother called her my little sunshine. Her father smiled every time he looked at her. She had soft hair and a sweet little nose. For the first 6 months, Helen was a happy baby. She smiled when she saw her mother's face. She laughed when her father made funny sounds. She followed bright lights with her eyes. She loved her red ball and her yellow blanket. Her world was full of colours and love. One morning, something changed. Helen was very quiet. She didn't look at her red ball. Her mother moved the toy in front of her, but Helen didn't follow it. She just sat still. Her mother called her name, but Helen did not turn her head. Her smile was still there, but her eyes looked lost. Her parents became worried. They took Helen to the doctor. The doctor checked her eyes. He moved a light in front of her, but she didn't react. He did more tests. Then he looked at Helen's parents with a serious face. "I am very sorry," he said. "Helen cannot see. She has lost her sight." The room was silent. Helen's mother began to cry. Her father held her hand tightly. It was hard to believe. Just a few days ago, everything was fine. Now their baby could not see the world. She would not see the sun, the sky, or their faces again. At home, things were different. Helen did not reach for her toys. She listened more to sounds. She moved slowly. Her parents tried to smile, but it was hard. They felt sad and lost. They wanted to help their daughter, but they didn't know how. Still, Helen smiled. She laughed when she heard music. She held her mother's finger. She touched her father's face. Even in the dark, Helen showed love. Her world was different now, but her heart was still bright. Time passed. Helen was now 2 years old. She could not see, but she could hear everything. She listened to voices, music, and the wind in the trees. She learned to walk by, holding the walls and furniture. Her hands became her eyes. Her parents still felt sad, but they loved her very much. They read books to her. They sang songs. They gave her soft toys with different shapes. Helen smiled when she touched new things. She was a smart and curious child. One day, a teacher came to visit. Her name was Miss Laura. She had worked with children like Helen before. She sat on the floor with Helen and gave her a small bell. Helen touched it and shook it. It made a sweet sound. Helen smiled. Miss Laura smiled too. Miss Laura said, "Helen is very bright. She can learn many things. She just needs time, love, and care." Helen's parents looked at each other. For the first time in a long time, they felt a little hope. Maybe Helen could have a good life. Miss Laura began to teach Helen every week. She showed her how to use her hands to understand things. Helen learned to listen carefully. She learned to find her way in the house. She learned to touch letters made of wood. She learned what cup and ball meant. Sometimes it was hard. Helen became angry when she didn't understand. She cried when things felt too hard, but Miss Laura was patient. She never gave up. She always said, "Only we'll try again tomorrow." And every day, Helen tried again. Helen was now 5 years old. She could not see, but she had learned many things. She knew how to dress herself. She could eat without help. She could walk around the house alone. Her hands were strong and her ears were sharp. Miss Laura brought new things for Helen. She gave her books with raised dots. "This is Braille," she said. "You can read with your fingers." At first Helen was confused, but soon she could feel the dots and understand the letters. Helen's world began to grow. She could learn new words by touch. She could write her name. She could read small stories. Her parents were so proud of her. Miss Laura said, "She is ready for more." Helen sometimes felt sad. She wanted to see the sky. She wanted to look at her mother's face, but she never stopped learning. She never gave up. In her heart, she had a light that no one could see, but everyone could feel. Helen grew older. She was now 10 years old. She could read Braille books fast. She loved stories about animals and space. She also liked poems. She would read them out loud to her parents at night. Miss Laura stayed with Helen for many years. She taught her how to write her thoughts. Helen used a special machine to type her words. At first it was slow, but day by day she got better. Her fingers moved with care and confidence. Helen also learned to speak clearly. She gave small talks at school. She told other children how she lived without sight. Some children asked many questions. Helen answered with a smile. She wanted them to understand her world. Her voice became strong. People listened. Her words had meaning. She talked about hope and learning. She said, "Even in the dark, we can grow. We can dream." People clapped. Some cried. Helen was not just a blind girl. She was a light. At home, her parents watched her with pride. They remembered the days when they were afraid. Now they had a daughter who was brave and wise. Helen still could not see, but she helped others see life in a new way. When Helen was a teenager, she had a big dream. She wanted to write a book. "I want to tell my story," she said. "I want to help other children like me." Miss Laura smiled. "You can do it, Helen. You have the words in your heart." Helen started writing. She wrote about her family. She wrote about losing her sight. She wrote about the days she felt sad. She also wrote about hope, love, and learning. Her book was full of feeling. Each word was true. It took her many months. Some days she was tired. Some days the words came slow. But she did not stop. "I will finish," she told herself. "Someone out there needs this." Finally, the book was done. It was called Helen's Light. Her parents read it with tears in their eyes. Miss Laura hugged her. The book was shared in schools and libraries. Many people read it and felt inspired. Helen was happy. "If one child feels brave after reading my book," she said, "then I have done something good." Her words touched many hearts around the world. Helen's book became known in many places. Teachers read it in classrooms. Parents gave it to their children. Blind children around the world felt stronger after reading it. They said, "Helen is like me. I can try too." Helen began to travel. She visited schools, hospitals, and special centers. She spoke to children who were blind or weak. She held their hands and said, "You are not alone." She told them her story, and they listened with open hearts. Everywhere she went, people smiled. Some cried. Some said thank you. Helen did not need to see to touch hearts. Her voice, her words, and her courage were enough. She gave hope to those who had lost it. One day, Helen stood in front of a big crowd. There were hundreds of people. Cameras, lights, and microphones were all around her. She took a deep breath and spoke clearly. "When I lost my sight, I thought my life was over. But it was only the beginning," she said. "You may feel broken, you may feel small, but inside you there is light. Find it, use it, share it. No matter who you are, you can make the world better." The crowd clapped for a long time. Some people stood up. Helen smiled. She could not see the lights, but she could feel the love. She had become a light for others. At home that night, Helen sat quietly. She remembered her past, the soft red ball, the doctor's words, her mother's tears, Miss Laura's lessons, her first book, and now all the children she had helped. She touched the cover of her book and whispered, "Thank you," not just to herself, but to everyone who believed in her. Helen had no sight, but she gave the world something even greater, her light.